Moving on up, that is the direction of the Collision ratings. They are going up, but unfortunately for them, they're taking baby steps. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. And just like at the end of a ladder match, when a participant is slowly climbing the ladder, they're moving at 1 mile per hour. That's kind of what the AEW Collision ratings are doing. So the viewership is in for the 22nd of July, and AEW Collision, a bit of good news, they've done their second highest rating since the show aired. Some bad news is, though, they barely broke 600,000, and it's kind of crazy that 600,000 is being considered a good rating. This is being considered good news for AEW, but unfortunately that is the case. Ever since the premiere, the ratings have just went down the toilet. They have tanked, and they've all been under 600,000. But this week's Collision drew 618 viewers, which is up 6.74% from the previous week, which only done 579 viewers. It did a 0.18 in the 18 to 49 key demographic, which is unfortunately down 10% from last week. So, I mean, they can't win. They go up slightly in the viewership, but then they go down in the key demo. So they made small gains in one department, but then lost small amounts in another department. So it swings and roundabouts for AEW. It does not help being on a Saturday night. It's probably the worst night that they could put a show on. I don't know why they picked Saturday of all nights. If they really wanted to do a wrestling show, there's other nights that they could have used. Why not just move Rampage and put Collision on Friday? That would make more sense. You'd have the people coming in from SmackDown. I'm not saying Friday's a great night either, but it's definitely better than Saturday, and I think you could argue that SmackDown would help. Some people would say SmackDown would hinder it and that people wouldn't want to watch 4 hours of wrestling, and you know what? I think there is a bit of truth to that, but I also think you can't deny that if 2.5 million people are watching SmackDown, then that gives you an opportunity to get 2.5 million people to tune out after SmackDown finishes and begin to watch your show. So yeah, you could argue 4 hours of wrestling's too much, but you could argue that Friday night is the night of the week that gets the most people watching wrestling because of SmackDown, and therefore you can take advantage of the blue brand's viewership. But no, Saturday night, absolute crap night to do wrestling. I mean, maybe it's different if you're doing the odd pay-per-view on a Saturday night, but it's weekly episodic television. Nobody really wants to sit in on a Saturday night and watch wrestling. Doesn't matter how good the wrestling is, doesn't matter who is on the show, CM Punk or whatever. No one wants to really sit home and watch that. Maybe back in the day it was different. Maybe if you'd have put Austin on a Saturday show, you put The Rock on a Saturday show, people would give up their plans, people would cancel dates with their girlfriends, people would just ignore their family and not do anything to watch real stars. But in 2023, nobody's giving up their personal life to sit home and look at Ricky Starks. It's just no happening, guys. Now, this week's show, in terms of the rating, did it improve because it had a better card? I'm not too sure. With CM Punk on the card, him and Darby Allin took on Christian Cage and Ricky Starks. We had Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed taking on the House of Black. We had Sky Blue and her big fat ass taking on Layla Hirsch. I'm sure that must have got a couple of viewers in, at least. Bullet Club Gold took on Action Andretti and Darius Martin as well. So yeah, we had some matches in there. So overall, I mean, the rating is good for them. They have moved up. Obviously, they want to go in the right direction. They want to improve their rating, but it's not a massive improvement. I wouldn't say it's anything to get excited about. It's 618,000 viewers. I believe when it got the original 816,000 viewers, I predicted that it would kind of flatline at around 650,000 viewers. So I guess 618 is kind of close to that. If they can maybe consistently do 618, that would be a step in the right direction. Then you try and improve it, but I wouldn't be surprised if next week they dip back under 600,000 because it's just a really, really bad night to do wrestling. Although they did have a taped episode in there as well, and they had like the Owen Hart tournament. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to wait and see. All In's coming up soon. Could they do a decent rating for that? We will find out. But that's it, guys. AEW Collision ratings are up, but barely, and 618,000. I mean, this is not great. Rampage was doing this for a while. Rampage was consistently, for like the first year of Rampage was doing around the 618,000 mark, and Rampage was considered a B show. It was like a Sunday night heat. It wasn't really a main show, and that was doing the same kind of ratings as what AEW Collision is doing now, and we can see that Rampage has dipped massively since it first debuted. So I wonder if the same will happen here on Saturday night. So maybe this is the best it gets for Collision. Maybe in a year's time we're going to see these ratings down to like 400,000, maybe 300,000 if we look at how Rampage has declined. Even Dynamite has declined. AEW was doing solidly over 1 million most weeks for Dynamite, and now it can barely hit 1 million for Dynamite. Gone are the days where they'd be getting 1.1s, maybe a 1.2, but consistently they were doing over 1 million for a while, for a long time. But now, I mean, AEW Dynamite seems to have settled at around 800,000. So yeah, the ratings are not good for AEW. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and peace.